in today's video, what does the normal TPT seller make? I wonder. We're going to look at a recent poll that was conducted a couple months back, and there's some definite things that I hope you will feel better about after you see it. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, my name is Lorianne, and if you are new or returning, welcome. Here at ISO Primary, we talk teachers pay teachers, Boom, Canva, PowerPoint, Google Slides, Pinterest. At the time of this upload, I will be unofficially back to school. I don't think I announced it here on this channel, but I finally got that permanent position. I put a post on my Instagram back in June, I think it was, and so this is, Lord willing, my last move. I really hope. But it's all optional, so I can show up for a couple hours, do whatever. It's just moving and setting up for the next couple weeks. We start school the day after Labor Day. 2 or 3 months ago, Alexander Baxter from the Terrific Teacherpreneur podcast conducted a survey or poll with TPT sellers, just curious about their incomes and things like that. But they realized that, just asking for your income is not enough. It's just not enough. There's so many factors, and we talk about them on this channel. So she said, well, I'll do this, but I need help. And sure enough, Rebecca from Hoff's Math, anyway, she's on Facebook, Instagram. She said, I'll do all the survey results, things like that. And so they compiled this and they officially released it on Alexander's podcast. I think it was in July. And I actually, from time to time, talk to Alexander because she's an expert at Pinterest and she's a TPT seller. And sorry, I think this is going to be a weekly thing. So I asked her if I could talk about that survey with you, and she said absolutely. So in a moment I'm going to turn the camera around and I'm going to highlight some pages, and then there's some takeaways that I think we need to just briefly discuss. Alexander and a couple others posted this poll. Maybe you were actually participated in it, and 1,007 TPT sellers responded, and which is a good number. I mean, it's not, this survey is not the answer, but it's a good snapshot of what's happening on TPT. When you click the link below, you will come to this. This is Alexander Baxter. This is her website link, and it gives you information on the episode 80, and here is where the survey results are. So you just click there and it will take you to a Google Slides. So here are the Google Slides. There's 20 some odd pages. I'm not going to show all of the slides again. You can get a copy of this yourself. On the first page or on the second page, it will talk to you about mode. Mode is not average. If my high school or grade 6 or 7 math is correct, mode is the most frequently offered answer. So the popular answer. So the popular answer based on 1,007 TPT sellers, the years on TPT, 1 to 2 years, but that was only 120 responses. Like I said, I'll show you some other pages and you can look more in depth later. The most popular answer for monthly earnings, less than $100 a month. Okay, and again, that many responses, that they're spread out. The most popular number of products is between 100 and 200. The most popular time spent on TPT is less than 5 hours. That to me was interesting. And then they also ask if you have a VA or some sort of assistant. Most people said no. And they asked about niche, and between pre-K and 2, and actually if you look at pre-K to grade 6, that is more than half. So the bulk of the TPT sellers surveyed are elementary TPT level sellers. Okay, let's go on to another page. The first few pages in the survey will just give you a slide showing you the questions and the answers straight on, and then they will start making some comparisons. As you can see here, the bulk of responses are TPT sellers less than 5 years. One of the things that I thought about is these surveys were conducted on a couple different Facebook groups. And so one of the things that I notice is that even looking at my own Facebook group is I have a bulk of very new TPT sellers, and then I have some in the still in this population, under 5, and then people who have had their TPT store for a considerable amount of time and they are now looking to get serious with it. So this does not represent necessarily averages. The only place you could get the answers to that would be from Teachers Pay Teachers. So this is the one that people often want to know. How much can you earn in a month, or how much do TPT sellers earn in a month? Based again on the responses in the survey, the largest number was less than $100 a month. But if you remember back on the previous thing, you have a large population of people who are still relatively new to Teachers Pay Teachers. But you've got everywhere from under $100 to more than $20,000 a month. If you look at the numbers, halfway is, people are making just under $1,000 a month. Again, based on the responses. How many products do you have in your store? And they range from less than 50 to more than 500. And as you can see, the most frequent answer is between 100 and 200. How much time spent during the school year? Less than 5 is a big answer here. Even less than 10, which is not a lot of time. And I know I've shared in one of my previous videos, trying to do 5 to 10 hours is a struggle when you're teaching full-time in the classroom. VAs, niche. Now, if you look here, out of the 1,007 responses, more than half are between pre-K and 6th grade. I will often say that pre-K to 2 is saturated. I still stand behind that comment. But what you're going to see with this survey is that there are people making big money in that pre-K to 2nd grade niche, even though it is quite busy. This one is insightful because look at the amount of people who do not use any platforms outside of Teachers Pay Teachers to build their business. And it comes as a recommendation from many TPT sellers that to those of you who are new to Teachers Pay Teachers, just focus on Teachers Pay Teachers for your first, get those products up. Your goal is to get over, 50 to 100 products up. Don't spend your time on Instagram and Facebook and Pinterest and all those right away. I would probably be looking at email. I did almost all of these because I was told to do that. But I think the advice I would give is just to stay off them. Just focus on product creation. Now, what I want to do is I want to focus on this one right here. And there's another one I'll get to as well. I want you to see that under a year on Teachers Pay Teachers, a large percentage make less than $100 a month. And it's usually because they have less than 100 products to begin with. And as they are farther along on Teachers Pay Teachers, you'll see these numbers switch down to these numbers, right? This gets lower, this gets higher, which tells you and reminds us all that Teachers Pay Teachers is a long game, not a sprint, a marathon. And I think marathon is always a perfect term for Teachers Pay Teachers or any side hustle business. You are going to run into all sorts of things. But yes, you can make money. I mean, look at some of these. Somebody was making 10 to 20,000 in their first year. Crazy, right? Even 2 to 5,000 in their first year. It can be done, but they are not the norm. These are the norm. Somewhere after 3 years, the numbers start flipping to the higher income. The other factors such as niche and time spent on your store are important. When people ask me how many products should I make, as many as you want. For a long time, I stuck under 50 and my income was sitting around $100 a month. This is unusual.
And even this is unusual. I mean, you think about that. 2 people or 1 person out of 1,000. That's unusual. That's an exception. That might be a very unique niche that they're working with, but this is normal right here. So if you've got a couple hundred products and you're making 300 to 600 a month, or even somewhere in this neighborhood right here, you're doing what other people are doing. There's nothing wrong with those numbers. Because where you start seeing the numbers move is when people are getting over 300 products. Here is niche. And this is the one that I try to tell people, and I'm glad the results from this survey confirmed what I tell people when they email me, that pre-kindergarten to grade 2 is saturated, but look at the people making money. More than 20,000 a month, more 10 to 20,000 a month, 5 to 10,000 a month. They're in pre-K to grade 2. I'm curious actually to what this other niche is. Grade 3 to grade 6, still good numbers. 7 and 9, 9 to 12. Electives, speech and language, clip art. They are all making money. Monthly earnings versus hours per week. You can see again, it's all over the place. Biggest number is those who are making less than $100 a month are only putting in less than 5 hours a week. To me, that makes sense. I mean, you still can make money, but I think sometimes with some of these bigger ones, they've already got established stores. I would like to see this monthly earnings versus hours versus how long on TPT, right? It's hard to do all these things. I think this is a well done survey regardless. The last couple I'll show you is this one, the years on TPT versus the number of products. If you are stressed and worried that you're not making enough products, do not do that. It's easy to do that. There's times when I feel guilty about not making enough products. You can only do what you can do. To make under 50 products in 1 year, that's great. Some people put these big numbers and say, I'm going to have 100 to 200 products. Can it be done? Yeah, look, there are some people that have done that. But take it easy, just do what you can and don't stress yourself. This is why people get burned out when they are making hundreds and hundreds of products. And then they just quit TPT because they just maybe might not see the results. Those who are making more than 20,000. But this is the little box I wanted to show you. And it reiterates this thing about, yes, you can make money fast, but time will help you with your business. Give your store time to grow. I mean, these numbers definitely show that.
Link to the podcast down below. So, 3 takeaways. There's probably more, but these are the 3 that kind of stood out to me. Number 1, if you are a fairly new seller, so under 2 years, you've got under 100 products or less, and you're making under $100 or less, you are doing fine, okay? You are on the right track. That's the norm. That's the norm, okay? I mean, look at all the people that were making under $100 or less in that survey. And I think that survey was pretty accurate. A lot of people make $100 or less. I made $100 or less. I think what happens is we get this expectation that this is going to be a get rich quick scheme and suddenly we're going to be rolling in the dough. And yes, that might happen to somebody, but it's not the norm. It just isn't. Which brings us into number 2. Number 2, time. Your store needs time. It almost needs to percolate. Okay, if you, again, looking at that survey, the longer they were in TPT, the more money they made. Yes, there's always going to be exceptions. It becomes, this bell curve if you're a math person. The people on the higher end, the lower end are exceptions. Majority of the people, okay, you've got to give yourself time and you need to have some consistency in the store. That was one of my problems in 2021. I was very sporadic. I would go almost months and then I would do some keyword research updating and then it gets a boost of sales and then I would do nothing, right? And I let other things like online learning or online teaching just take away my strength, and I just wasn't consistent in 2021, and my income reflected that. So you've got to give yourself some time in your store to be consistent, to be visible, right? And keep putting in some products. Kristen Doyle, who I talk about off and on, who has a SEO boot camp, which I highly recommend. I still refer back to it from time to time. She gets asked all the questions, and she doesn't know the definitive algorithm for Teachers Pay Teachers, but she's got some pretty good guesses, and she does talk to them because she's a large enough TPT store. Consistency and being in your store seems to have some bearing. We don't know how much, but if you upload one product a week or one or two products a month, you're in the store. We don't know, but that might help you a little bit. Don't make 50 products sit and do nothing expecting your store to grow. It might. Someone said, well, what are the exceptions? March of 2020 was an exception. Everyone suddenly had to flip to online, and if you were a TPT seller that quickly took all your products and made them digital, you got a boatload of money. Because many didn't. I didn't make digital products until August because I honestly thought, COVID, a couple weeks, month maybe. What do I know, right? But there are times in different, seasons or whatever where something will happen. It could be a trend or a fad. And some people jump on it and they benefit from it. Some people just wait and watch. Maybe something will happen. And then by the time they get on it, it's kind of over, right? Or it's still happening. That's why looking at the trends, what people are searching for in the keyword search, in the TPT search bar is important. That's what people are looking for right now. So it changes every month. It sometimes changes every couple weeks. They are keeping track of what people are searching for. Those are good words to be using, and those are good products to be making. But at the same time, there are already thousands upon thousands of products for those keywords. So when you're just starting and there's an established, store 5 to 10 years, the algorithm is going to pick them up much faster because there's so many factors that we do not know that why a product is first. Sometimes it has nothing to do with the keyword. They just show up first. Who knows what? Be patient with your store and try and just consistently grow. You saw in the results that many people had 0 social media. That was really interesting to me. Really interesting to me. And so that should tell you, you can grow your store big without Pinterest, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. However, I would still highly, highly recommend keyword optimization. All right, and I've got videos. Last thing I want to talk about. Be careful about misinterpreting the poll that all you need is 500 products and you're going to be making 20,000 a month. If you noticed, there were people that had over 300 products and making less than $100 or $100 to $200, $300 I think it was, with 500, upwards of 500 products. And then there were people that had less than 50 making, 10, 20,000 a month. Again, those are exceptions, but that should just remind you that it's not about quantity, it's about quality. If you are making high quality products, you will get repeat buyers. You will get repeat buyers, and that's what you want because they already know who you are. And if they've got one of your products and they love it, they will look to see what else you've got. Quality matters. If you can get 500 products, great, but quality matters. It is better to have 100 or 200 quality products than to have 400 or 500 products, because people don't want Their money is, that's their money. They want to make sure the money is invested well. Upcoming video, and it has to do with this, because if you have 50 to 100 products. And even if you have more than that, and you don't want to be on social media, and you're trying to get more visibility, what do we do? How do we get more views and eyes on our products? That's what we're talking about next week. So wherever you are in the world, I hope you and your family are staying safe, being healthy. Enjoy the end of summer. School's coming. If it hasn't already come for you, let me know down below if you are back to school and how many years you've been teaching. And tell me what you thought about the poll. And if you listen to the podcast, all sorts of things. And any other stuff you want to talk about. I'll catch you in that video. That video is a slightly older video, but it's my 1-year income video. Or you can watch a Teachers Pay Teachers playlist. See ya.